Insight.
Welcome back. This is your host, Arjang Abraham Zendadel. Today we're discussing spiritual fitness. My guest is Dr. Nancy Maramer, licensed clinical psychologist specializing in mind, body, spirit psychology, international speaker, and award-winning author of the book, Spiritual Fitness. So we've been discussing exercises for spiritual fitness, and we have been discussing using the breath, right? Being aware of the breath to calm us down and connect us to our parasympathetic system, which is basically being present, relaxing, etc., in layman's language, and being mindful, which is about being present, living in the present. And if you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, the best times you ever had were when you were present, right? You had that amazing meal that you enjoyed, or you had a great conversation with someone, or you watched this amazing movie that you were fully present with. So why have it sporadically? Why not have it more and more so we can enjoy our life more? And by the way, if we weren't present, we probably didn't enjoy it or savor it. So we don't necessarily consider it the greatest times of our life. So it's important to be present. You talk about something called sky gazing. What is that all about, please?
Sky gazing has gotten a lot of attention lately because one way to be very not only present and mindful, but to be meditative is to be in concert with nature, to look at the sky and know that it's always there. It's always going to be there for you. You don't need any special equipment. You don't even need to really pay attention to your breath, but to connect to nature, which is in essence God, which is where all of our energy is focused, within us, within nature, within the globe, within everything, within the sky. That is where our spirit resides. And so paying attention to the sky is a way of paying attention to your own spirit, because you're connected to that. You're connected to that essence. And it's silent, it's still, it's present. So by being mindful, by breathing, or by being mindful, or by looking at the sky, you're accomplishing the same thing in all of these practices.
You also got be present, right? If you're watching the clouds. So the clouds are not necessarily still, but they're still, you're focusing on being present by looking at the clouds, for example, correct? When you say sky gazing, you mean just the blue sky or the movement that's in the sky sometimes, the birds flying?
Sometimes the night sky is very still. You can get a lot of sort of presence and mindfulness from gazing into the night sky.
Okay. So it's about connecting to heaven. It's interesting because people think of heaven, they look at the sky. So you're connecting to sky. You know, one of the things that's interesting, Dr. Nancy, is when we look up, it's hard to be sad and depressed.
That's true.
Actually, it actually triggers parts of our neurology that makes it hard to feel bad. So looking up itself can also have profound benefit for us just through the neurology of it, right?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. Yes. Depressed people tend to have a physiology of depression,
And
where their
looking down.
heads hung and their shoulders are dropped and so on.
Yeah. All right.
And
So sky gazing is another tool that you can add to your toolbox. Looking at the sky, looking at the movement in the sky or the stillness in the sky is a tool that you can use. I know you also share about the power of prayer, of course, which is a universal practice also. So please share with us about prayer.
almost every spiritual practice in the world has some form of prayer. And sometimes the prayer is a combination of words that we say that evoke a certain connection to our spiritual beings and to the spiritual beings in the world. At other times, the prayer is in the form of a ritual. It can be, a prayer can be taking a walk in the forest. It can be forest bathing, can be a form of prayer. Or it can be a meditation practice, can be a form of prayer. If you're repeating a mantra, if you're repeating a statement or a word that evokes in you is the sense of your own spirit. So prayer,
or singing also can be a form of prayer too.
Singing, music can be a form of prayer. Drumming can be a form of prayer. It's a way of connecting and focusing very, very deeply on the spiritual part of ourselves. And there are wonderful books full of prayers that you can say, or you can connect with when you need certain things in your life, so that you can be attuned to those and be, focused on manifesting certain things through prayer. But sometimes prayer is just a way of honoring God, honoring spirit, honoring our spirit, honoring the great spirit, so to speak. Prayer is a way of acknowledging that tradition, and it's universal. Every culture has prayer in some way in their culture.
There's a principle when the flood of Noah's Ark happened, right? So when we have floods in our life, we have surges of things, challenges that's happening. You go into the ark, and in Hebrew, the word ark also means the word. It's actually prayer and connecting to spirituality. So you go into that ark, you replenish yourself, and then at some point you're meant to go out and take that inspiration, and it has the word spirit in it, inspiration, and then bring it into the world. So there's a deeper soul story, deeper psychological story about Noah's Ark, and it connects to what you're sharing with the power of prayer, the power of the word, which is very profound.
And there's prayer and story.
Yes. Right. So story can also be prayerful too.
Also be prayerful, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So prayer is a way when we pray to a higher being, to God. That's a way to also transcend, which is important.
To transcend, to connect the God in you with the God in everyone and everything.
Yes. It just came to me because you are a psychologist. I'm sure you've dealt with people who have addictions. And for me, in my experience, because I've also supported people with addictions, a lot of the things that people do, addictions to drugs, alcohol, etc., is really a call for being high, a spiritual connection, but it's done in an ineffective or destructive way. But the root of it is this desire to transcend, to get high. And one of the things I share with people is that's why it's important to connect to spirituality, to transcend effectively, and then come back into the daily living, not in an unhealthy, ineffective way. Is that something that also you teach and connect to?
Yes. Often we say that addiction is running around in a circle so you don't fall in the hole in the middle. And the hole in the middle is your spirit.
Wow. Beautifully shared. Beautifully shared.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we need to wrap up. I'd love to continue speaking with you and learning from you about spiritual connection and spiritual fitness. That's our topic for today. How can people find out more about you and your work and connect to you more?
My website is realconsciousliving.com, and you don't have to worry about the capitals and lowercase. You'll get to realconsciousliving.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. I can also send you, if you contact me through my contact form, I can send you a list of references for the things that I spoke about today in the meeting with RJ.
Beautiful. Thank you. Realconsciousliving.com. That's REAL, conscious, CONSCIOUS, living.com, realconsciousliving.com. Dr. Nancy Maramer is also the award-winning author of Get Real, REEL, and also Spiritual Fitness. That's the main title. There's also subtitles. You can look for that. So Spiritual Fitness and Get Real, and I'm sure people can get that from Amazon and different places, correct?
Yes.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us and awakening us and supporting people to elevate. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. I see the true you also. Thank you so much. All right. So if you'd like to connect with me, Arjang, you can reach me, connect with me at dreamality.com. That's DREAMALITY.com, dreamality.com. Thank you, Jesse Sanchez, our technician today. Thank you to my wonderful wife, Nicole, who co-produces this show along with myself. I'd like to end with a quote by Henry J.M. Nouwen. I believe I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, Nouwen. And here's his quote: "The spiritual life does not remove us from the world, but leads us deeper into it. Be well, and God bless."
A time of insight